If you feel you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Oh, I cannot do this because I'm a woman. Oh, I cannot do this because I'm an immigrant.
I'm successful, I'm wealthy, I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I have infinite potential and possibilities in my life.
Asking for help is actually a sign of the leadership, not a weakness.
I literally shared with everyone, we're going to be a $10 million gross sales company in 5 years.
Everyone looked at me, I was like, okay, what the hell are you talking about it?
If you don't pay yourself something, why are you doing it?
We devote our whole life chasing after money, just only to realize that it's not everything.
Welcome to Escape the Matrix podcast with Ella Rivkin.
Welcome back to the Escape the Matrix podcast. I'm your host, Ella Rivkin, and this show is where we uncover the stories of people who refuse to accept limitations. Stories of people who refuse to accept limitations, who step outside of the boxes society, business, and even their own mindset created for them. Today's guest is the perfect example of what happens when you stop saying, I cannot, and then start saying, how can I? He is the owner of the multi-million-dollar residential construction company, a 10X certified business coach, and a leader who helps entrepreneurs across all industries scale the business, elevate their leadership, and unlock the true potential. But his turning point didn't come from the success. It came from the moment of truth. 6 years ago, he took a hard look at his business and realized if he didn't change something, nothing would change. So the decision to ask for help is what transformed everything for him. He is now a dedicated his life to helping others to do the same. So please welcome Chris Hartsuk. Hi, Chris.
Thank you, Ella.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you.
Chris, you had such an amazing journey in your life, and you said that 6 years ago, there's something, this moment in your life, this pivotal moment where you actually looked back at your business and knew that something had to change, or you would never achieve what you truly achieved. So can you please share that moment with our viewers? And what did you see, feel, or realize that made you feel saying, okay, I really need help?
I appreciate the opportunity, and you are correct. And I think the bruise is gone where I was banging my head against the wall so long ago, 6 years ago, just, hitting that wall, doing everything I thought was correct in my business to be successful, only to find out that I was only doing the bare minimum to get by. That was just paying the bills, if that makes sense. And
no, totally. I totally understand that.
Yeah. And with that, I had to just step back and go, what am I doing wrong? I started doing a little research that most small business owners, in the category I was in, would never get past a certain plateau in gross sales. And, I was like, there's got to be something I'm missing. What am I missing? And I was making all my payroll, making all my payments, but I wasn't putting anything extra in the bank. Mm-hmm. I wasn't able to grow my business to what I had envisioned it to be. And that's when I finally reached out and realized I need help, outside of my business, I need help. And that's when I hired a business coach to help me kind of do a deep dive to see what I was doing wrong or not doing right. So, and that's where, when I hired that coach to come in, I actually hired him to come in and do a forensic. They literally came in, I paid him to do a 2-day on-site with us. We traveled, again, I'm in the residential construction industry. We traveled to job sites. We talked with my crew, my team, my subs that we were working. And then we came back and he was ready to dive into the books. He's like, all right, let's see your books. Right. So we dove into them and he's like, where's all this money that, your P&L says that you have in here? I'm like, I'll pull up my bank accounts and show you it's not there. So long story short on that, it was coming up to where I didn't have the proper systems in place. I didn't have systems. I had them up here in my head, but I had employees that I had hired in the office to help, but it was up here in my head, not in their head. And that was the biggest thing that I found, was that I needed to document what I was doing, implement additional systems so that I could track my numbers daily, monitor my cash flow better, so that we could see where our money's at, who has our money, why isn't it coming in, who we owe it to. And then it came to the point where I started seeing a little progression moving forward, but I still wasn't hitting that next level. I actually outgrew that coach. And there is such a thing as outgrowing a coach. Because, as Brandon Dawson tells us, and Grant Cardone tells us too, is, if you have a coach, check the level of success that coach has done themselves, right? Yeah. If that coach has only done $500,000 in business ever annually, they're probably not the coach you want to hire. You want a coach that has done millions, multi-millions, and even above. Ella, just like you and I, our coach is Grant Cardone, a multi-billionaire. So he kind of, sets that stage for us in that Excel level. So when that came about, I actually came across one of the 10X, one of his millions of advertising he puts out on social media. And with that, I called them, talked to him, went to, at that time, it was a business boot camp. Now it's a business summit, and went to the boot camp, realized, wow, this is the energy I need. This is the direction I need. This is the systems I need. And purchased the 10X 360 that weekend I was there at the boot camp, which, for those that don't know, a 10X 360 is taking a look at your company, all aspects of it, putting in 90-day action plans to get to that next level, similar we did in the coach certification process, and implemented Cardone University for my whole management team. And that allowed my team to understand where my energy and momentum was coming from, and why I was speaking what I was speaking. Yeah. And now we've been on that for 3 years now. Wow. 3 years, Cardone University, and which has been a great track. And from that, it kind of expanded into the coaching. I love that. Backing up just a step, when I got into the 10X 360 and the Cardone U, that's when I saw my revenue, my gross sales, go from 1.2 to 3.2 in a year's time.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Yeah. And thank you so much for sharing this. And it's interesting how you mentioned is, so you actually mentioned a lot of the things, and I want to make sure that I cover all of them. But I remember for myself a while ago, I remember to be exact, was like 10 years ago, when I, like you said, like we have, the process, like you keep it all in your head, but then the employees come in and then you have to teach them, but they don't know what's in your head. And 10 years ago, I was going through the same, when I started going through this transformational journey, I was going through the same thing. Okay, yes, I know what needs to be done. It's like, it's all so simple. You tell to your employees once, twice, but they just not, okay, it's not registering. And this is when I realized, okay, that I need to have the systems and the processes in place. But then going back to that, you mentioned that you realized that you need help, that it's okay to ask for help. And correct. I myself, I remember too, like the first time I actually got my first coach was 10 years ago, when I went through this feeling and this internal feeling where I realized, okay, yes, I need help. And I reached out to my coach, he became my coach after that, and then he started helping me. But now let me ask you this, because what do you feel like most entrepreneurs actually, they struggle, they have all these challenges in the business, but then yet they afraid to admit this and to ask for help. So why do you think asking for help is actually a sign of the leadership, not a weakness?
Well, you are correct, Ella, and you are right. Most entrepreneurs, they feel like, I'm an entrepreneur, that means I can do everything on my own, and if I can't figure it out, no one's going to help me. And so that's a mindset shift that you have to be able to humble yourself to ask or seek for that help. And by asking for that help, you're opening up your world to someone that's already done what you've done before and wants to help you get to that next level as well. It could just be, a mindset group you're part of, a social networking group you're part of that can help you get to that next level. So asking for help is very key, even if you're starting out, or like I was, at that point, I was 8 years into business when I finally asked for help. 6 years ago.
Well,
And
for you,
it's
8 years. I was in the business for 17 years. That's how long it took me. So I'm a very slow learner. And I guess it took me more time to admit that I guess I do need help.
well, let me ask you this then. What made you finally ask for help at 17 years into business?
Well, for me, it was because I was already tired, exhausted, struggling, and then I just realized that's it. Like I don't know what needs to be done, and that's
Right.
why I asked for help. But as you did mention, because a lot, I work with the business owners every single day. In fact, like yesterday, even I was in a meeting with the prospect client, and then she calls, and then I'll tell you everything like we're doing, and she's like, "No, I don't need any of this because I already know everything," And then it's just made me realize, because I used to be like that too. I thought that I know everything already. There is nothing new that I will learn. But even
Right.
there is someone will tell me something that I already knew that. But then, okay, if you knew that, but you didn't imply that, these are two different things.
Correct. Yeah. And that's if you feel you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
You always need to be learning. If you don't change, you will die. If you don't adapt with the changes, your business will die. You'll become old news, and you've got to stay on the cutting edge, no matter if you're in construction, accounting, marketing, whatever you're in, real estate. You have to be able to evolve with the society that's changing, and people on the cutting edge of that will stay on top of it and help share that with other people as well. And that's one of my goals, yours as well, is to share this knowledge, this inspirational change. And like we said in the beginning, the mindset change, that it's okay to ask for help. It is. It doesn't make you a weaker business owner. It doesn't make you any less successful business owner for asking for that help.
Yeah, absolutely love that. Yeah. So Chris, you mentioned something about the mindset. So being a coach across all this different industry with your experience already. So what do you believe is the biggest mindset trap?
The biggest mindset trap that we've identified since we've become a coach, and I had them myself, and now I can share that with our clients that we have that we coach, is that business owners, entrepreneurs, no matter what you're in, they will put on what I call your business blinders. And literally you are just tunnel visioned, looking forward straight ahead. And when you take those blinders off, you have a whole field of vision out here in your peripheral. If you turn your head, you can see more. And as I share that with our clients, get rid of the BB, get rid of the business blinders. And literally after about one or two sessions, I've had as quick as one session with a client that they dropped those business blinders off, and it opened them up to an opportunity that literally they landed $300,000 additional to their bottom annual revenue by taking those off and not being so tunnel visioned and looking at an opportunity that was right next to them. And that's probably that biggest shift, is saying, look, folks, drop the blinders. It's a big world. Quit looking just straight ahead of you. Don't look behind you, but look what's beside you, and you'll exceed. You'll succeed.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So it's like the same thing as you driving the car. You drive the car looking through the front window, not through the rear window. But
Right.
this is amazing. So I love that. So you take the blinds off. But so what about talking about again about the business owners? So it's not, even if you don't have the businesses. I think like we all as individual experiences day-to-day challenges. Those that are watching and listening, if you don't have the business, maybe you got stuck at the job where you feel like you're not growing. So to take these blinds off, as you're saying, then it means that you have to go from I cannot do it to I can do. And I hear this a lot. And again, I was guilty of that as well. We find all these different beliefs and excuses. Oh, I cannot do this because I don't have enough education. Oh, I cannot do this because I'm a woman. Oh, I cannot do this because I'm an immigrant. Like whatever it is that, oh, I have kids. So whatever excuses that we have. So can you explain what that looks like in real life, and how can someone actually make that shift?
Great question, Ella. And let me see if I can dive in that a little better about how I made that change and shift. It's believing in yourself first, because if you don't believe in yourself, there's no way you're going to be able to, it's going to be harder for you to get someone else to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. And so we have some clients that we've worked with to say, you can do this. It is in your vocabulary to do what you're wanting to do, right? 10x your mindset. And by getting people to believe in themselves first, then you can start ingraining in them what they can do and help them achieve their goals and their targets that they're targeting, to achieve. I don't know if many people are, do it, but I have personal mantras that I say to myself every day. I say I'm driving down the road. If something's not going right, I just remind myself, I'm successful, I'm wealthy, I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I have infinite potential and possibilities in my life. That last part is very key that most people don't understand. Everyone has infinite potential and possibility in their life as long as they take that first step in the right direction that they can do and make changes. We're not looking for handouts. If someone reaches out to us, we will help them guide and figure out what their self-belief is and what they need help with. So again, being successful just doesn't mean in business. It means in everything. Being wealthy just doesn't mean financially wealthy. It means spiritually, emotionally, all of that. The healthy part, same thing, not just physically healthy, mentally as well. Mental health is key in being aware of who I am. And then again, that infinite potential and possibilities, that's so key. That
I love this.
Don't limit yourself.
Infinite potential and possibilities. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Yep.
So you mentioned about the belief, right? So we need to have the belief. So what was the one belief that you had to let go that changed everything for you? If you can share this with us.
I can. That I could do it all myself.
Uh-huh.
That was my belief. Again, kind of like you were talking about, where you were limiting yourself. I'm a female, I'm an immigrant, all of that, right? Mine was, I'm a male, I'm dominant, I can do it all myself. No, I couldn't. And I had to swallow my pride, humble myself, and go, I need help. I mean, there was times I wouldn't even talk to my wife about it, because she's an entrepreneur, but she deals in smaller dollar amounts than what I deal with. Mine has several more zeros onto it than what hers are. And she would get nervous when I would start talking about my big numbers of debt and or possible job sizes. And so that was the biggest thing, was getting that I can do it myself. I don't need help. And once I got rid of that, it was like I was a whole new person. And also eliminating being around negativity. It's amazing when you get away from negativity, you can spot it that fast when you're around it again. And so if you want to be successful in something, surround yourself with people who are successful in what you want to do, whether it's in business or construction or whatever it is. Surround yourself with successful people and you'll make that happen. And that's what I started doing.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Believe that I can do everything myself. Yeah, that that's definitely resonates with me. Deep down, I'll tell you the truth. Deep down, I still have that, but every time
I know you do.
well, it's natural. We're human being, right? So it's natural.
Exactly.
But the thing is, listen, it's all right. But the thing is that whenever I think that way, so the next step, what I do is that I'm aware of that right away. So I'm aware of that thought. And then the next thing, what I actually learned to do is, okay, yes, I can do it all by myself. Well, first of all, I don't need to do it. Second of all, if I want to do everything that I want to do and I want it to be done much faster, so then obviously I need people to help me with that. And I think that's what's helping me to overcome it. Okay, and go back to this. Okay, you know what? I can do it myself. No. Let me see who else can help me with this, so that this way I can just focus on something else.
Correct. As long as, again, You and I are similar. We're cut from the same cloth. You know, we can do it. We know we can. We're very dominant in conversations and so forth. But we work well together, which is awesome. But what we've learned is that we have to sliver ourselves off in these roles. You know, to have people, yes, we can do it, but we need to educate someone to do that so that we can duplicate our time and focus on other things that we don't have someone to do that for us yet. That's the key word, right? And then just making sure those systems, like I mentioned earlier, are in place so that there's checks and balances that we can go, okay, yes, that sliver of me is working. And you and I both know too, it takes some while to find the right people to put in those roles that have the right right attitude, the right mentality, the right gumption. There's a good word for you. The right gumption to want to do it, the motivation. But it takes time. But you know what? There is light at the end of that tunnel. And you and I both see that success, that we can see it. It's worth the effort. Definitely worth the effort.
No, definitely. Absolutely. So for those of you that are watching, if you're business owners and you think that you can do it all by yourself, yes, you can 100%. But do you need to do it by yourself? And the question is, how fast do you want to scale? And talking also about that, the business owners, so many entrepreneurs, many business owners, they build the business and then eventually that becomes their prison. I know that that's how I felt 10 years ago. This is why I made this big decision, because I felt struggled. I felt like that's it. Like this whole business just controls my whole life. And for you, it was the same. So then let me ask you this. What would you suggest? What is the, like for those business owners that are watching us, what is the difference between being a business operator versus a business leader?
So business operator, you're a straight employee and chained to that company. A business leader, you're leading that business to success. And one thing that we're working with our clients is, especially whether they're starting, we literally just had a session yesterday with a brand new business owner. They just filed their paperwork a week before start meeting with us, right? To I've got multimillionaire clients that have been in business decades that hit that wall at a different level, and we're helping them. But the biggest thing on that we want to help them figure out is, what is their exit strategy? What does it look like? Are you in this for a lifetime? Are you in this for a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan? Is there a dollar amount you want to cap and then cash out, sell the business, move on, or to franchise it, duplicate it, and collect the revenues there? So, and that's what a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners don't really think about when they get into it, right? They're down in the weeds. There's like, I just got to get the doors open. I got to get my product out. I got to get my services out. I got to get this going. When they really need to be thinking about, what is my end result?
Yeah.
As Steve, I'm going to quote Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind.
Yeah.
It's one of the 7 habits. Begin with the end in mind and then work your way back to the beginning. And when you're able to do that, then you know where you know your path. It may divert a little bit, but you know, ultimately, hey, at this point, I'm going to start exiting my business. But to exit my business, I got to have systems in place. I got to have so many years of clean books. I got to have a great CRM, you know, that is easily to connect with my client base. And so that is the difference between a business leader and a business operator, in my opinion.
No, I love that. Absolutely. Yeah. To have the end goal in mind. And, you know, I'm all about numbers, the finances. So the first thing when I meet up with my clients and when I teach my master classes, I'm all about, okay, what's the target? You have to have the target, what number it is that we're looking to get. And the same thing is in the business. So you just mentioned what's the exit strategy. So basically that's the end goal. And then you just reverse engineer to where you are today. And then the next step is just working on how to close that gap. I love that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So we try to do everything from beginning to end and get them, you know, to where they are today. So.
Yeah. I love that. So, when you went through all these changes and realizations for yourself, share with our viewers, what did you feel? Like, what are I'm pretty sure you had like a fear, as majority of the business owners of us have it, like the fear of failing, if it's actually going to work out. Like, what did you feel? What challenges did you go to, and what helped you to overcome them?
Well, it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions, fear, joy, nervousness, anxiety. I still have that every day. I mean, you're not a good business owner if you don't, right?
Yes, I know. Me too.
Yeah,
I have that.
exactly. Guilty, right? Yeah. So when I made that first step, and I'll just go to when I went to that first business boot camp, the 10X business boot camp. I didn't know what I was getting into. I really didn't. My sales rep I was working with from Grant Cardone, was talking me through it, met me there, made me feel more comfortable, going to the event. I took my top marketing guy with me when we went to it the first time. And so while I was there, I'm like, okay, I knew that there's big chunks of financial investment I was going to have to make, right? But the old adage, it takes money to make money, it is true. If you have $10, invest it to make 100. If you have 100, make it to, invest it to make 1,000. Well, I don't mean invest it in stocks. I mean, invest it in yourself, invest it in your business. So I knew that I went to this boot camp for me to get to that level where I knew I could get to. And I saw a vehicle now in the 10X products and services to get me there. I knew it was going to take a big investment of my part, time and money. And, so I've invested quite a bit of money to get where we are. But once that investment's made and systems are in place and products and services are working, now it's paying in dividends for that investment. But it was that very much nervousness. Am I going to go bankrupt because I'm investing this much money, where I could take and put that into these bills I owe for my business, or I could pay off these 2 fleet vehicles, or I could put that in my personal account and take a vacation. No, I'm all in. I went without so that my business could grow. Almost like a child. I have 2 children and they're grown adults now, thank goodness, out of the house. But my business is my child, and I'm investing in my child's future. And by doing that, you have all the trials and tribulations of raising a child and taking it through. But there is a graduation point. And so, yeah, if that explained my emotional fears and anxieties and all of that. But I did stick firm to my beliefs and my faith that you believe it, you move forward like it's going to happen, and it happens. And it still happens.
The first thing, you need to have the belief, then you need to take the actions, right?
Correct.
And then it happens.
Yes, it's true. And sometimes still today, some of my employees, because that was one of the fears I had, was before, as an entrepreneur, I didn't share my business, inner workings of my business, with my teammates, with my team members, right? And that's one of the things that I learned through Brandon Dawson and Grant Cardone is share your goals, share your targets out there, right? I came back from that boot camp and I literally shared with everyone, we're going to be a $10 million gross sales company in 5 years. And we're at 1.2 right now.
And when you shared this with your team, how did they take this?
They were kind of like, okay, what's this? Because it was really our first time. We'd had employee or holiday gatherings and stuff like that, but we never had business talk, right? But I wanted to share with them the vision of the company and how they fit into that, right? And what that would mean when we hit that $10 million gross sales goal, right? Because even in that, our mission statement, we're adding our vision statement, we're adding 10 additional successful team members to our family, right? Our big dog family. And they're like, okay, we have incentive programs we put in for our team members too. It's like, hey, you make our phone ring, I'm gonna pay you $100. We sell the job, I'm gonna pay you another $150 for selling that. Just for saying, hey, give us a call. $250, do that 10 times a month. That's a lot of extra money in their pocket per month.
Yeah.
And not until we hit that first milestone of going from 1.2 to 3.2, I didn't believe it until then. I did, but the facts were there. It's like, oh my gosh, we're on it now. Our goal this year is 5 mil. Next year is 7.5, and then we'll hit the 10. So we're on track. And as Brandon Grant talk about it too, is we pull time forward.
Yeah.
You put the systems in place and we'll find that we're going to pull that time forward and make this happen. And
Yeah.
we're making it happen.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned is that when you came back, that you were taught to share the vision and the goals with the team. It's interesting because exactly the same thing happened with me. So like when I started going through this whole transformation in my business, well, first in the beginning, when I heard about the concept that you gotta share with the team, the first thing went through my mind as the business owner. Oh, okay, like I'm gonna share it with my team, or they're gonna get scared. They're gonna leave, and then why would they? I want to share the numbers. Then they're gonna know how much I'm making. You see, like with all these
Right, exactly.
limited beliefs, and that's obviously what was going through my mind. And I remember when the first time when I shared with them, everyone like looked at me. I was like, okay, like what the hell are you talking about it? And then the next thing, okay, so that means that we have to work more. We have to work harder. So that means the change, and obviously no one likes the change. So I'm pretty sure you probably like went through the same challenges with your team.
I did. They fear change. Everyone fears change unless you know how to approach change and look at it on the pros and cons of it.
So totally. How do you approach change? What's your recipe for that?
So the way I approach change is I start with what I just said there. I look at what the pros and cons are going to be of this change, whatever it's going to be. How's it going to impact me? How's it going to impact my business? How's it going to impact my team members? How am I going to sell it to my team members or my clients even? Because changes happen every day in residential construction. We open up a wall and we're like, oh, we didn't know that was there. We have a change that we have to then share with the client. This is either going to save you money or cost you money. So that's how it's all in the delivery. It really is. You have people that come up and say, oh, hey, this is going to change and it's going to suck, right? It's going to suck. It's going to take forever. Or you can be like, hey, you know what? We got an opportunity here to make a difference and it's going to be great. It's going to be a little struggle to get through it, but we're going to get there. And at the end, all is going to be good. So it's all in that delivery of the change. I'm all about teaching people to be able to accept the change and how they can get through that.
Yeah, I love that. So through our conversation, you also mentioned about, and we spoke about the systems, the framework, and then how we as the business owners, you and me, how we had it all in our head, and then we put it into the training material. So me, myself, personally, I'm pretty sure maybe you can resonate with that as well. And those that are listening, the business owners too, is that the first thought that came to my mind, okay, so I'm going to put it all in the training material, and then my employees going to take this, they're going to steal this information and then go open up their own companies and do it themselves. And many business owners think that way, is that, okay, like I built this whole thing, I have all this knowledge, and then I'm going to put it and teach someone else just for them to leave the company one day. So what were your thoughts when you were going through this transformation and changing your business, and how did you overcome it?
Sure. No, great question. I actually had it happen with one of my employees, one of my field employees, where they thought I basically taught them in the field myself when we were a very small starting out company, trained them, taught them how to do things, how to be precise with trim and everything else. And then they decided they were going to go do it on their own, but still work here. And so in our employee handbook, there's no moonlighting. There's no doing work on the side in the same field that, you're being paid daily to do. And, I just had a conversation with them. I'm like, if this is something you want to do, then by all means, you need to go do it, but you can't do it jointly, while working here. And I had that fear of, sharing all my knowledge and someone going out and being better than me at the same thing I'm trying to do. And it was a fear that was holding me back. If there's something that's that proprietary, then we'll put legal docs in place, to protect ourselves. Non-disclosures and all of those things, or non-compete clauses. But now part of that shift, from 6 years ago and growing to today, even, it's more power to them. If they feel that they need to branch out and try it, by all means, I'll support them. I'll applaud them, give it a shot, and that happened with this employee, and he's now back employed with me. So, because they're like, oh, we can do it. Look how much money Chris is making. He's living high. I'm like, no, I'll share all my bills with you. The bank owns everything I do. I make payments to it, on this. So that's how I deal with that. I encourage it. But I try to have enough incentives in place and perks to working here that they don't want to leave. That's the goal. So now I just cross any bridge that comes up as I'm walk up to it.
And that's it. Yeah. And and the benefit is much higher. And talking about and that's something that I learned for myself as well. Like if you think and operate out of the fear, then in a way we attract this to ourselves. You did mention about like the negativity and keeping yourself in the community only with the positivity. So for those of you that are listening, if you are operating your business out of the fear, then in a way this is something that we predict to ourselves, that because if we believe that something will happen, that this is something that will attract. So it's just switching that mindset, right? And then believing
it's all mindset.
It's all about the mindset. Yeah. But the benefit is eventually, even like you mentioned, I did the same thing. Like, I'm all about education. I'm all about the teaching. So if I taught someone and they going and implementing this, that means that I'm a great teacher.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. I love that. Yeah, but the benefit is the benefit at the end of the day, the benefit is to grow our business so we can actually go and do more powerful things, bigger things, and teach others to do to help us and to do this day-to-day operations in the business. So it still all pays off.
You are correct. And one thing I didn't mention from one of my mindset thought from 6 years ago is I was always worried about selling, chasing that dollar, right? Selling. And until I made the switch, I'm there to serve, not sell.
Yes.
And when I would legitimately, my clients would feel that I'm there to serve them, to help them solve their problems in their home or whatever they had. And now even with our coaching clients, I'm there to serve them. It's not about selling to them additional products or additional services or about what they're paying for our services. It's about serving them. And when I made that change and let it ripple through my company, it was just a windfall change also of sales, because I was in it for the right reason and not for the wrong reason. Not that it's bad to want to make money at what you're doing. You should, because 6 years ago also I wasn't paying myself a salary.
Yeah.
And when I hired that coach to come in, he's like, well, how much are you paying yourself? I'm like, I'm not. If there's anything left, I'm making sure that my home bills are paid and that's it. Everything is here. He's like, if you don't pay yourself something, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And now, and at that time I wasn't doing budgets for my company 6 years ago. He said, well, how do you know you're spending what you're supposed to spend in that category? Yeah. I wasn't marketing my company. I would occasionally, because I had such a good word of mouth advertising out there, that I stayed busy, but that just kept me busy, not scaling, growing bigger. Right.
Yeah.
And so now we literally are investing up to 10% of our gross sales back into marketing. It's the omnipresence.
Yeah.
And now we have gotten ourselves out of obscurity. A few people knew who we were, and now we're out of obscurity because we've created an omnipresence of ourselves. We're on radio, TV commercials, fleet of labeled up vehicles, wrapped vehicles out there in our 2-hour circumference we travel. We're involved with all the communities, the Rotaries, the Lions clubs, the chambers, all of that. We're in the parades. We're going to be in a local Halloween parade tomorrow with our wrapped vehicles and so forth. and that's really where that serving comes in, is serving for the community, stepping up when the community says, hey, we need help with this. Sure, what can we do? Can we help labor wise, or can we help monetarily wise? And that has made such the big difference in my business and in my personal life as well. And I want
Yeah.
to share that with as many people as I can.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, and I love how, yeah, like how you said, it's not just all about the money. It was, I think exactly the same way. The way I see that money, it's like the end goal is it's the reward. So by getting the money, this is I know, okay, I actually got the benefit of it, and it's interesting because when I started my career, out of the college, so when I graduated, if you remember. You're old enough, I think, to remember this. So I graduated in '97, and that was the whole computer, the tech boom. So I graduated in accounting, and then all my friends, everyone back then, so to get a job, it was like 30,000 a year that you would get. I mean, like that's
Right.
like really little. Even back then, it was very little. So, but then by going into the tech, because of the tech boom back then, you were able to get like the job, and you didn't even need to have any knowledge. They would just hire everyone.
Right.
They would give you like 100,000 a year and more. I had friends that were receiving 200,000-300,000. So like back then, we're talking about what, 28 years ago, 27 years ago, that was a lot of money. So anyway, to make the long story short, so I actually went to change my major. I studied computers, but I didn't like that. It was not me. And then I found a mentor, and I persuaded him to hire me in the accounting firm for absolutely for free as just intern. So deep down, somehow, being 22 years old, somehow I knew inside of me that I didn't care about the money, even though I was an immigrant with no money, and I was pregnant back then. But I knew that if I'm going to learn and serve the community, help this business to grow, then I'm going to become wealthy, rich, and I'm going to make lots
Right.
of money. So, and I love how you mentioned that sometimes it's just not about the money. It's like actually about serving and giving back. And if you do have that kind of mentality in your business, then you will definitely make out.
It definitely, it does pay off in the end, for sure.
It does pay off.
Tenfold.
Yeah. So my podcast called Escaping the Matrix. So when you think about escaping the matrix, what does that mean in the world of business and leadership?
The box. Get out of the box. Get out of the norm. To me, the Matrix, just, I'm sure it's referencing the movie. You're in that, locked in that routine. Just you're locked in the box, right? You have to be able to break out of the matrix, escape the matrix, like you're saying, think outside the box, that infinite potential and possibilities. That, like I tell myself every day, multiple times a day, it's anything can be done. And I tell my clients, and again, residential construction, when first time I meet a potential client, I let them know anything is possible as long as you're willing to pay for it. Right?
Yeah.
You want to lift your house up 4 feet in the air and move it 9 feet to the north? No problem. We'll do it as long as you're willing to pay for it. Not a problem. And that's the same thing in anything you choose in life. As long as you're willing to take the step to first motivate yourself to investigate it, research it, find the people that can help you achieve what you're wanting to do and change, break out of that normal routine. When I do speaking engagements, we talk about this, that, it's the be obsessed or be average, Grant Cardone, right?
Yeah.
And majority of people are average. They wake up every morning, they'll eat their breakfast, maybe go to work, come home, eat, watch TV, sleep, get up the next morning, go to work. They're in the matrix. They're in that routine. It's a humdrum being average, right? Being obsessed is, what can I do every moment of every day to get myself closer to that target? That's
Okay.
being obsessed.
I love that. So then for those of you that are listening right now and they do want to change, and people, we naturally as people, we afraid of the change. So we hesitate, we're afraid, we're scared. So what would you suggest as a first step?
Pick up the phone, right? go to the computer, search. That's after you've made the decision that I want to change from being average to being obsessed. Even if it's just moving the needle closer to being obsessed, right? Is ask yourself truly, what do I want to do to make myself happy? Or what do I want to do to fill a void that I have inside? So many people go through life with this void inside and they don't know what it's lacking. But yet they won't take the initiative to figure out what it is, right? They won't even try new things. And so then it's, once you do that, then it's like, okay, who can help me? Then you start getting excited. Oh my gosh, who can help me? And you'll start seeing things fall in place, right? Everyone has a path, right? Everyone has a path. Sometimes our paths will cross each other. Sometimes they'll divert away from each other. But we're all here for a reason. We don't know what it is, but it's within us to find out what it is. And it's just taking, again, Ella, just taking that first step and just busting out of the box. And it's, even if you don't fully get to your target you're reaching for, you're going to be so much further along than if you're just sitting on the couch watching TV every night.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. Such a great advice. So as we're going towards the end of our podcast, let me ask you this. My life motto is, it's all in your hands. What does it mean to you?
Well, I think I've said a lot that kind of lends right to what you're saying about it's all in your hands, all in my hands, all in my power and control, right? Sometimes we get obsessed the wrong way, that we're being controlled and we can't do anything different because we're being controlled. It's not the case. It's you have infinite potential and possibilities. And that means anything that I can do, it's in my hands, on my keyboard, picking up the phone, talking to someone, doing a podcast with someone, hopping on a plane to Miami and sitting next to someone, meeting them at a certification process, with Grant Cardone. It's in your hands. That's what that means to me. It truly does.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. So now I want to do something fun, if you don't mind.
Wait, I've been having fun this whole time. We're going to have more fun? Yes. I'm in. Let's go.
More fun. So I'm going to ask you like this short, rapid fire questions. So there is no right or wrong answer. Just shoot a straight, short answer.
Okay.
All right. Let's do this. Leadership is
fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. The biggest lie business owners believe in?
I can do it myself.
A habit that changed your life?
Mindset shift.
Mm-hmm. Money is?
Not the answer to everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, how so?
Oh, I got you into conversation. So money is not the answer to everything, because you can do things without money to fulfill yourself. Collaboration is great. We're collaborating here today on a podcast, right? It's not costing either one of us money to make that happen. And so money is not the answer to everything.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, because, and I used to think that too. So money is everything. And it's interesting because we spend our whole life chasing after money, only just later on in life to realize that money not everything. I mean, luckily for me and for you, we understood this earlier, but unfortunately some people just face this and understand this towards the end of their life, so which is very fortunate. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Yeah, how we devote our whole life chasing after money, just only to realize that it's not everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, your superpower?
My positivity.
Okay. One piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Ask for help sooner.
Love this. When I finally stopped doing blank, my business exploded.
When I finally stopped doing it by myself, my business exploded.
Okay, love this. All right, I love this. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing. This was powerful. Last words of encouragement, advice that you would like to share with our viewers.
I will. One, thank you very much for allowing me to come on your podcast, Escaping the Matrix. The last word of advice will be, don't give up on yourself. Believe in yourself, because you can do anything you set your mind to do. And collaboration is very key in getting to where you want to get to in life. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Reach out to a neighbor, reach out to a stranger. Until 5 weeks ago, we didn't know each other, Ella.
Yeah.
So it's you never know when you're going to cross someone's path that they can change your life or you can change their life. Always look for those opportunities.
I love that. This is, I think this is so powerful for our viewers. That's such a strong ending and such a great advice. Chris, thank you so much. Your story is such a powerful reminder that our life can change in a single moment if we just take the action. And sometimes it's just a small action. It's just asking for help. And it doesn't require a lot. Like you mentioned, just a phone call, or maybe just to put yourself in a room where you find these people where you can ask for help or learn something. And then that moment will decide your life, your future. And then stop making excuses and start doing everything in your power to achieve what we say we want. For everyone that is listening, if you take one thing from this episode, let it be this: you are not stuck because there is no opportunity. You are stuck because you haven't yet made the decision to claim it. Chris is living proof that when you shift from "I cannot do it," "I will do it," your business, your money, your confidence, your entire life can transform. This is your wake-up call. Stop waiting for the right time. Stop hoping things will change on their own. Make the decision that turns your life into a new direction. Chris, thank you so much for your honesty, your leadership, and your mission to help others to break free. And to everyone listening, remember, the secret to your next life is not where it is. It's already inside of you. Take action, step into the leadership, and never forget that financial freedom is all in your hands.
Thank you, Ella.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Escape the Matrix podcast with Ella Rivkin.